Welcome back, you silent assassins, you masters of emotional warfare, you beautiful, terrifying ghosts who learn to weaponize stillness. Yeah, I see you there, sitting in that chair with that half smile, that calm that makes people nervous, that energy that doesn't scream but somehow deafens entire rooms. You know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? That moment when they betrayed you, that moment when the knife went in, when the lies surfaced, when the masks dropped, and you... No tears, no rage, no public meltdown, no begging for answers, no desperate phone calls. At 3 a.m., asking why, nothing, just silence, just that cold, calculated, bone-chilling silence that made them check their phones, wondering if you even cared, if you even noticed, if you were even human anymore. And here's what nobody tells you about that moment. Here's the secret they don't want you to know. Your non-reaction wasn't weakness. It wasn't shock. It wasn't you being in denial, or trying to be mature, or taking the high road. No. Your non-reaction was the most sophisticated psychological weapon ever deployed in interpersonal warfare, and you didn't even realize you were holding a loaded gun. You see, while they were expecting tears, you gave them nothing. While they were waiting for anger, you gave them silence. While they anticipated drama, chaos, broken glass, and social media posts dripping with pain, you gave them absolutely zero ammunition, zero supply, zero emotional feedback to feed on. And that right there broke their entire playbook. Let me tell you what happened next, because this is where it gets beautiful. This is where your accidental genius turned into legendary status. They started panicking, not immediately. No. At first, they felt relief. They felt like they got away with it. Like you were too weak to fight back, too broken to respond. But then hours turned into days. Days turned into weeks. And your silence didn't break, didn't crack, didn't even whisper. And that's when the fear set in. That's when they started obsessively checking your stories, your posts, your activity status, desperately searching for signs of collapse, for evidence of suffering, for proof that they still had power over your emotional state. But you gave them nothing, absolutely nothing. And in that void, in that absence of reaction, their minds started filling in the blanks with their worst nightmares. Because here's what you need to understand about people who betray. They need your reaction more than they need air. They need to know they still matter, that they still have influence, that they can still make you feel something. Your pain is their validation. Your tears are their proof of significance. Your anger is their entertainment. But when you give them nothing, when you respond to their nuclear bomb with complete and total indifference, you rewrite the entire war. You become the anomaly in their equation, the variable that doesn't compute, the human being who somehow transcended the basic emotional responses they've spent their entire lives learning to manipulate. And now they're the ones losing sleep. Now they're the ones obsessing. Now they're the ones trapped in a psychological prison of their own making. You want to know why military intelligence agencies and corporate espionage divisions are now studying your exact response pattern? Yeah, you heard that right. There are actual professionals, trained operatives with degrees in psychology and decades of field experience, sitting in rooms analyzing the precise mechanics of your non-reaction, trying to reverse engineer it into a teachable methodology. They call it the Zero Echo Protocol. They've given it a name. They've created PowerPoint presentations. They've written case studies, all because you, in your moment of deepest betrayal, accidentally discovered what professional manipulators spend careers trying to perfect: complete emotional opacity, total psychological invisibility, the ability to absorb an attack and reflect absolutely nothing back. 20 years. Let that sink in for a second. 20 years of training, of simulations, of practice scenarios, of controlled environments where they teach operatives how to maintain composure under interrogation, how to withstand psychological torture, how to keep their faces blank when their loved ones are threatened in hypothetical scenarios. 20 years of that, and they still can't replicate what you did naturally in 20 seconds. You know why? Because their training is artificial. It's learned behavior layered over natural human responses. But you weren't performing. You weren't acting. You weren't trying to appear strong or unbothered or mature. You genuinely, authentically, on a cellular level, stopped giving them access to your emotional interior. You didn't fake indifference, you achieved it. And that's the difference between performance and transformation. Here's what really happened in that moment. The moment they were expecting you to shatter. Something inside you died. Yes, but not in the way they imagined. It wasn't your spirit that died. It wasn't your hope. It wasn't your capacity for love. What died was your need for their understanding. What died was your attachment to their version of reality. What died was the part of you that still believed people like them deserved explanations, closure, or the privilege of witnessing your pain. You underwent an instant evolution, a psychological mutation that typically takes people decades of therapy to achieve. You learned in one moment what most people never learn in a lifetime: that some people aren't owed your energy, your time, your tears, or your truth. They studied your face in that moment, did you know that? They were watching for the micro-expressions, the tiny muscle movements that betray internal emotional states. They were trained to read you, to catch the flicker of pain in your eyes, the tension in your jaw, the slight tremor in your hands. But you gave them nothing. Your face remained a perfect mask of neutrality, not because you were trying, but because somewhere deep in your neural pathways, a switch flipped. Your brain, in its infinite wisdom, recognized a threat and deployed the ultimate defense mechanism. You didn't just close the door. You removed the entire wall. You deleted the architecture of connection itself. And now they're teaching this in classrooms. I'm not joking. There are university psychology programs using your response pattern as a case study in advanced emotional regulation. There are therapy groups discussing the spontaneous detachment phenomenon, where individuals under extreme stress achieve instant Buddhist monk-level non-attachment without any formal training. There are neuroscience papers being written about the specific brain state you entered, that rare configuration of neural activity where the amygdala shuts down threat response because it's calculated that engagement itself is the greater danger. You became a scientific mystery by accident, just by refusing to play their game. Let's talk about what happened to them after your silence took hold, because this is the part they don't want anyone to know. In the days following their betrayal, when you maintained radio silence, when you didn't reach out, didn't confront, didn't demand explanations, didn't post cryptic quotes or sad songs, something started happening to their psychology. At first, they felt powerful. They felt like they'd won, like they'd gotten away with it clean. But humans are wired for closure, for completion, for responses that match actions. When you betray someone, your brain actually expects backlash. It prepares for consequences. It braces for impact. And when that impact never comes, when the expected response is replaced with eerie, unnatural silence, the brain doesn't interpret that as victory. It interprets it as existential threat. They started second-guessing everything. Were you okay? Were you too okay? Did you even care? Did they ever matter to you at all? Were you playing a longer game they couldn't see? The questions multiplied, spiraling into obsession. They found themselves checking your social media more than you ever checked theirs. They found themselves asking mutual friends about you with carefully casual questions that fooled no one. They found themselves lying awake at night, replaying the moment they betrayed you, analyzing your face, your words, your energy, searching desperately for clues they missed, for signs of weakness they could cling to. You had given them nothing to work with, nothing to decode, nothing to comfort themselves with. Your silence became their torture. And here's the beautiful irony. They did this to themselves. You weren't trying to punish them. You weren't playing mind games. You weren't strategically withholding reaction to make them suffer. You genuinely, authentically moved on so completely and thoroughly that they ceased to exist as a significant factor in your emotional landscape. You didn't need closure because you gave it to yourself. You didn't need answers because you already knew everything that mattered. They were capable of betrayal, and you were capable of surviving it. End of story. System reboot complete. Now here's where it gets really interesting, where your accidental genius becomes legendary. In the weeks and months following your non-reaction, they started noticing something disturbing about themselves. They couldn't move on. While you were out there, living your life, evolving, growing, becoming stronger versions of yourself, they were stuck, frozen in the moment of betrayal, trapped in an infinite loop of wondering why you didn't react. Their new relationships felt hollow because their new partners didn't have your energy. Their achievements felt empty because you weren't there to witness them. Their lives became haunted by your absence, not because you were gone, but because you left so completely, so thoroughly, with such absolute finality that there was no hope of return. And this is what breaks people like them. The realization that they lost someone who couldn't be replaced, someone who gave them something they didn't know was valuable until it was gone, someone whose presence in their life was so unique, so specific, so irreplaceable that every person who came after felt like a cheap imitation. They destroyed something precious, thinking they could find it again somewhere else, thinking the grass would be greener, thinking you were just another person in an infinite sea of options. But you weren't. And now they know it. And that knowledge is a prison sentence with no parole, no appeal, no possibility of early release. The intelligence agencies studying your response pattern identified 3 key elements that made it so devastatingly effective. First, the speed of deployment. You didn't take days or weeks to calm down and then choose silence. You went silent immediately, cutting off their supply of emotional feedback before they could even finish their betrayal. This instantaneous withdrawal created a psychological whiplash effect, where they went from expecting maximum drama to receiving absolute zero in less than 60 seconds. Second, the completeness of the cutoff. You didn't give them breadcrumbs, didn't leave doors slightly open, didn't maintain just enough contact to keep hope alive. You went full scorched earth, total communication blackout, complete psychological separation. Third, the authenticity of indifference. They could tell you weren't performing, weren't faking, weren't pretending. Your energy genuinely shifted from invested to void, and that authenticity made it impossible for them to rationalize or cope. They tried to replicate this in training scenarios and failed every single time. You know why? Because you can't teach genuine emotional detachment to people who are only performing it. You can teach someone to keep a straight face, sure. You can teach someone to control their words, their body language, their visible reactions. But you can't teach someone to genuinely stop caring on command. You can't manufacture authentic indifference. You can't fake the specific energy signature of someone who has truly, completely, irreversibly moved on from caring about your opinion, your presence, or your existence. That's not a skill. That's a state of being. And you achieved it naturally because your survival instinct was stronger than your need for closure. Let's go deeper into the mechanics of what you did, because this is where it becomes a masterclass in psychological warfare without even trying. When they betrayed you, they were expecting a predictable sequence of events: shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. The classic grief cycle. They had scripts prepared for each stage, responses ready, manipulations planned. But you skipped the entire cycle. You went from discovery straight to complete detachment, bypassing all the stages they were prepared to exploit. This created a system error in their manipulation matrix. They couldn't proceed to step 2 because you never gave them step 1. Their entire playbook became useless. Their years of practice manipulating human emotion suddenly irrelevant because you weren't following human emotional patterns. Your brain did something extraordinary in that moment. It recognized the betrayal not as a personal attack requiring emotional processing, but as information requiring strategic response. And the optimal strategic response to a hostile actor is complete disengagement, no energy expenditure, no resource allocation, no attention given. You treated them like a computer treats a deleted file, not with hatred, not with anger, just with absolute indifference, as if they never existed in the first place. And this is what professional interrogators and intelligence operatives train decades to achieve. The ability to receive devastating information and process it as pure data rather than emotional stimulus. They're writing textbooks about you now. Actual textbooks. Chapter titles include The Spontaneous Achievement of Operational Detachment, Zero Feedback Loops, and Psychological Dominance. And my personal favorite, When the Target Becomes the Operator, Accidental Mastery of Emotional Warfare Protocols. These aren't metaphors. These are real academic and military publications, analyzing the specific psychological mechanisms you deployed without formal training. You're being studied in the same way they study natural savants, people who can perform complex mathematical calculations instantly without knowing how, people who can play music perfectly without lessons. You're an emotional warfare savant. Here's what's happening right now in their mind. Years later, because yes, this is still affecting them. They're sitting somewhere, maybe in a relationship, maybe alone, and suddenly a song plays that reminds them of you, or they see someone who walks like you, or they catch a scent that triggers a memory, and in that moment, the wound reopens. Not because they miss you, but because they're reminded of the one person who ever looked at them and decided they weren't worth a reaction. The one person who saw their betrayal and responded with such complete indifference that it called into question everything they believed about their own significance. You didn't just reject them. You didn't just leave them. You erased them from your book of people who matter. And that erasure is permanent. The psychological impact of your non-reaction created what researchers now call inverse narcissistic injury. Normally, when you hurt someone and they react with pain, anger, or pleading, it confirms your power over them, your significance in their life. But when you hurt someone and they respond with nothing, with genuine void-level indifference, it creates a devastating realization. I wasn't important enough to hurt. I wasn't significant enough to warrant a reaction. My betrayal wasn't even worth acknowledging. This destroys the ego at a fundamental level because it strips away the illusion of importance that most people desperately cling to. And here's the ultimate irony. They'll never be able to use what you did against someone else. Even now, knowing what you did, understanding the mechanics, seeing the effectiveness, they can't replicate it because your power came from authenticity, from genuine transformation, from real evolution. They're still operating from ego, from performance, from manipulation. They can practice the silence, they can withhold reactions, they can play the game, but it will always be just that. A game, a performance, a fake, and people can smell fake from miles away. Your power was in the truth of your indifference. Their attempts will always be transparent lies. 20 years of training versus 20 seconds of transformation. Professional operatives with unlimited resources versus one person who just got tired of caring. Sophisticated psychological warfare techniques developed over decades versus accidental genius born from survival instinct. And you won. You didn't just win. You redefined the playing field. You didn't just survive. You evolved. You didn't just move on. You transcended, and now they're studying you, teaching you, trying desperately to understand how someone with no training, no preparation, no formal education in psychological warfare could deploy the most effective emotional defense mechanism ever documented. You want to know the real reason they're so obsessed with understanding your response? It's not academic curiosity. It's not professional interest. It's fear. Because if one person can naturally achieve what takes them decades to learn, if one person can accidentally stumble into mastery-level emotional warfare capabilities, then everything they've built their careers on, everything they've spent years learning, every technique they've perfected, you represent the natural evolution of human psychology beyond their control systems. You're proof that authentic transformation beats manufactured composure every single time. So here you are, living your life, probably not even thinking about them anymore. Definitely not dwelling on the betrayal. Almost certainly not aware that you've become a case study in multiple academic and professional fields. You're just existing, breathing, moving forward with your life, and somewhere in a classroom, in a training facility, in a psychology lab, someone is showing your response pattern to a room full of people and saying this is the goal. This is what we're trying to achieve. And those people are taking notes, asking questions, running simulations, trying desperately to replicate what you did without thinking. Respect? Now that's a joke, a beautiful little illusion they dangle in front of you like a bone for a starving dog. They whisper pretty words, earn respect, be kind, be good. But tell me, when has kindness ever made anyone powerful? When has being good ever made them fear your absence? They don't respect kindness, they consume it. Like parasites, they drain you, laugh behind your back, and toss you aside when you're no longer useful. The world doesn't respect lambs. It slaughters them. But power? Ah, power. Now that's something they respect. Not because they want to, but because they have no choice. When a wolf walks into the room, do the sheep discuss morals? No. They hold their breath, they freeze, they feel their heartbeat in their throats, because they know one wrong move and it's over. You've seen it, haven't you? The way the weak are ignored, brushed off, pushed aside like background noise. But the ruthless? They command attention. They walk into a room and the air changes. People adjust their tone, straighten their backs, measure their words carefully. Not because they like them, not because they want to respect them, but because they are forced to. Tell me, have you ever noticed that? The ones who bow aren't the ones who want to, they are the ones who have to, because they know disrespecting you comes at a cost. And oh, that's where the fun begins. They've looked right through you, haven't they? Like you were nothing, like you didn't exist. You've spoken, but no one listened. You've entered a room, but no one turned their heads. You've tried to be good, polite, decent, and what did it get you? A pat on the head, a forced smile, a moment of empty courtesy before they turned their backs and forgot you even existed. Oh, I know that feeling, that rage, that quiet, burning fury that bubbles beneath your skin when you realize no one takes you seriously, no one fears your absence, no one dreads your silence. You are nothing to them, just another face in the crowd, another pawn in their game, another weak little thing they can step over without a second thought. You see, the world doesn't ignore you because you don't matter. It ignores you because you don't demand to be noticed. Weakness is an invitation, a silent plea to be trampled. They see your hesitation, they smell your doubt, and like vultures circling a dying animal, they come. Slowly at first, a dismissive glance, a condescending chuckle, then it grows, mockery, rejection, disdain, until one day you wake up and you realize you have been erased. And yet, look at how they tremble before those they fear. Look at how they stumble over their words in the presence of power. The moment you make it clear that disrespect carries consequences, suddenly they listen. Suddenly your words matter. They don't respect you. Oh, no, they respect what might happen if they... Because, my dear friend, the truth is simple. If you are weak, you are prey. And in this world, no one mourns a lamb. They only kneel before the wolf. Ah, and here's where the fun really begins. The moment you stop begging for respect and start taking it. The moment you realize that fear, oh sweet, intoxicating fear, is the only language this world truly understands. Love, love is fragile. It fades, it bends, it pleads for understanding. But fear commands. Fear makes them second guess every word before they speak it. Fear makes them hesitate before they cross you. Fear makes them see you not as an option, but as an inevitable force. You see, people respect what they fear losing: their comfort, their security, their own safety. You want their respect? Make them terrified to disrespect you. Not through words, not through empty threats, but through presence, through an aura so undeniable, so unpredictable, so untouchable, that they feel it in their bones. When you walk into a room, the weak should shift uncomfortably in their seats. Their laughter should die on their lips. Their hands should get just a little clammy as they wonder, what will he do if I cross him? That's the shift. That's the moment you stop being overlooked and start being feared. Not because you seek destruction, not because you crave chaos, but because you finally understand they will never respect you willingly, so you make it their only choice. Now this is where the real game begins. Strength alone won't make them respect you. No. Strength is expected. It's measured. And what can be measured can be challenged. But unpredictability, that's a different beast entirely. That's what keeps them on edge. That's what makes their breath hitch when you enter the room. You see, people don't fear what they understand. They fear what they don't. They fear what they can't predict. And what they fear, they respect. A man who is always kind, easily manipulated. A man who is always angry, easily controlled. A man who is always unreadable, now that is someone they'll never dare to cross. Because they don't know what happens if they do, and that uncertainty, that's power. You must become a wild card, a specter of controlled chaos, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, sometimes close, sometimes distant. Never too available, never too obvious. Keep them guessing. Keep them unsettled. Keep them aware that they don't really know you and that the wrong move could cost them more than they're willing to pay. Because the truth is, people don't respect what they can define. They respect the mystery, the uncertainty, the feeling in the pit of their stomach that whispers, "Be careful. You don't know what happens next." You still think respect is earned in the open? That it's won through grand speeches, noble deeds, or fair fights? That's adorable. That's what they want you to believe. But the truth, the real truth, respect isn't won in the light. It's forged in the shadows. You don't fight for respect where they can see you. No. You position yourself where they can't. You make them need you before they even realize what's happening. You control the whispers, the perceptions, the fear in the back of their minds. You don't demand their respect. You make them question their power over you. And the moment they start to doubt, you've already won. Most battles are over before the first punch is ever thrown. The strongest man in the room isn't the one who shouts the loudest. It's the one who doesn't need to speak at all. The one whose name alone carries weight. The one whose presence commands silence. So stop trying to prove yourself. Stop begging for recognition. Instead, make them wonder. Make them hesitate. Make them fear what happens if they ever make the mistake of underestimating you. And now we sharpen the blade. You want respect? You want them to see you? Then stop asking and start becoming, because the world doesn't respect words. It respects undeniability. And that, my dear friend, comes from ruthless self-improvement. They will never respect a man who blends into the background. They will never acknowledge the one who waits to be noticed. No, no, no. They respect the one who forces his way into their minds. The one whose presence lingers long after he's gone. The one who becomes so damn good at what he does that ignoring him is no longer an option. You must evolve relentlessly. Build your mind until it's a weapon sharper than any blade. Strengthen your skills until they make others feel small in comparison. Gain knowledge, influence, power, until the very idea of not respecting you becomes laughable. Because respect isn't about what you say, it's about what they see when they look at you. And when they see you, they should see a force they cannot deny. A storm, a reckoning, a presence so unshakable, so undeniable, so damn formidable that their only option is to bow, whether they like it or not. Pain, oh, sweet unforgiving pain. You think respect is free, that it just appears because you want it? No, no, no. Respect has a price, and that price? Suffering. Sacrifice, blood. You want them to bow, then you must break first. You must walk through fire until your flesh peels, until your bones ache, until your soul itself begs for relief. And even then, you keep going, because the weak stop when it hurts. The strong embrace the agony. They pay the price willingly. Look around you. The ones they fear, the ones they admire, the ones who command the room without saying a word, they all bled for it. They all suffered in silence while others laughed, while others doubted, while others lived in comfort. But now those same people look up at them with awe, with fear, with respect. Because hardship is not a curse. It is a forging, a brutal, merciless process that remakes you into something they cannot ignore, something they cannot defy. And if you are too soft, too afraid, too unwilling to endure the fire, then step aside, because respect is not given, it is seized. So tell me, are you willing to suffer for it? To let pain mold you into something worthy of their fear? Or will you crumble like all the others who wanted respect, but never had the spine to earn it? They watch you, waiting, hoping, not for your success, no, but for your reaction. They want to see you beg, to see you lash out, to see you crumble under the weight of their words. It's a game to them. Push you, mock you, deny you, just to see if you'll break. Just to see if they matter enough to shake you. But here's the secret. Indifference is the silent killer. It is the knife that slides between their ribs without a sound. Nothing unnerves people more than a man who doesn't flinch. A man who doesn't seek their approval, who doesn't need their validation, who looks them dead in the eyes and feels nothing. They want your emotions, your frustration, your anger, but when you give them nothing, oh, that is when the fear sets in, because now they can't tell if they've won. They can't tell if you even care, and that drives them insane. Silence commands more respect than 1,000 words ever could. A cold stare, a slow smirk, a refusal to acknowledge their existence. It turns the tables. Now they are the ones seeking your attention. Now they are the ones desperate for a reaction. And the more you withhold it, the weaker they become. This is how you win, not by shouting, not by pleading, but by making them feel invisible, by making them desperate for your attention while you remain untouchable. Let them scream, let them hate, let them drown in their own insignificance. And you walk away, unshaken, unbothered, unbreakable. The moment it clicks, the moment they realize they can't look at you the same way anymore. It's subtle at first, just a flicker, a hesitation, a second too long before they speak. They used to mock you, dismiss you, treat you like nothing, but now their voices waver, now their smiles are forced, now their laughs come with a hint of nervousness. Oh, you'll see it in their eyes, that quiet recognition, that unspoken truth. They don't want to respect you. They don't want to admit they were wrong. But it's no longer up to them. Power bends the weak. Dominance forces submission. And whether they love you, hate you, or curse your name under their breath, their behavior must change. Watch them start to choose their words more carefully. Watch them nod when they used to argue. Watch them step aside when they used to stand in your way. They bow without even realizing it. Because when you hold power, it stops being a choice. It becomes a matter of survival. And let them resent you. Let them envy you. Let them burn with hatred behind fake grins and polite handshakes. That hatred, that's their frustration, their regret, their realization that they can never treat you like they did before, that they lost control. Because in the end, it doesn't matter if they like you. It doesn't matter if they despise you. What matters is that they respect you. And respect is a cage, a chain around their necks, forcing them to acknowledge what they tried so hard to ignore. So let them glare, let them whisper, let them seethe. It doesn't change the fact that when you walk into the room, they bow. Look at yourself. Really look. Do you see it? The shift, the fire in your eyes, the weight in your presence? You are no longer the fool they dismissed, the shadow they ignored, the name they forgot. You are something else now, something they don't know how to handle. And that unsettles them. They don't laugh the same way anymore, do they? Their jokes don't land as hard. Their insults don't cut as deep. Because they feel it, that change, that quiet, suffocating realization that the person they once toyed with doesn't exist anymore. You don't demand respect. You breathe it. You walk into a room and suddenly their voices drop. Their movements stiffen. They choose their words more carefully, not because they like you, not because they want to, but because their instincts scream at them to do so. And it burns them, doesn't it? Oh, how it eats away at them. They hate that they can't break you, hate that they can't shake you, hate that despite all their efforts you now stand above them. They tried to keep you small, and now they live in the shadow of what you've become. You were never meant to beg for their approval. You were meant to force them to acknowledge you, not through words, not through empty pleas, but through undeniable, unstoppable presence. Respect isn't given. It's taken, ripped from their hands and burned into their minds. They may never love you, they may never cheer for you, sing your praises, or welcome you with open arms. But they will feel your absence like a blade against their throat. They will fear the silence you leave behind. They will dread the day you walk away, because suddenly everything feels weaker without you. And that is power. Ah, look who just became a case file. Welcome back, you beautiful glitches in their reality. You walking impossibilities that just shattered every law they thought was concrete. They caught you on camera, didn't they? Yeah, I know. Security footage, surveillance feeds, motion sensors, all of it. And now, right now, there's a room full of people staring at screens with their jaws on the floor because what you just did, that doesn't exist in their textbooks. They're playing it back frame by frame, slowing it down, enhancing it, analyzing every pixel. And guess what they keep finding? Nothing that makes sense. Nothing that fits. Nothing that explains how you moved like that, appeared like that, vanished like that. They're calling it a malfunction, a glitch, a corrupted file. But we both know the truth, don't we? You didn't break the camera. You broke their understanding of what's possible. See, they've been monitoring everything, tracking everyone, thinking they had the whole world mapped out in neat little grids and predictable patterns. Every human behavior cataloged, every movement anticipated, every anomaly explained away with science and statistics. But then you walked into frame. Then you did that thing you did. And suddenly, their entire system started screaming errors. The timestamps don't match. The physics don't work. The biology doesn't compute. You're moving in ways that violate momentum, appearing in locations that break continuity, existing in states that contradict their precious laws of nature. They're running diagnostics on equipment that's never failed before, calling in specialists who've analyzed thousands of hours of footage, and every single one of them comes back with the same terrified conclusion. This is impossible. But here's where it gets beautiful, where it gets absolutely F times kecking perfect. They can't delete it. They can't explain it away. They can't classify it as a hoax because their own verified systems captured it. You're not some grainy Bigfoot video or blurry UFO dot. You're crystal clear, high definition, time-stamped, authenticated impossibility. You're the footage that makes scientists question their degrees. You're the evidence that makes skeptics go silent. You're the recording that gets labeled classified not because it's secret, but because acknowledging it would mean admitting their entire framework for understanding reality is broken. And the best part? You weren't even trying. You were just existing, just moving through space like you always do. And their technology couldn't handle the frequency you operate on. They're calling it paranormal now. Yeah, you heard that right. Paranormal. The same people who spent decades mocking anything unexplained, who built careers on debunking and dismissing, they're using that word now. Because what else can they call it when someone shows up on 12 different cameras simultaneously in locations 3 miles apart? What label do they use when the footage shows you moving faster than their frame rate can capture, leaving trails of distortion that look like reality itself is bending around you? How do they categorize video evidence of you standing in a space where the laws of perspective break down, where depth perception fails, where light behaves in ways that violate every principle of optics? They can't. So they whisper that word, paranormal. And in those whispers, you hear something else too. Fear. Pure, unfiltered, scientific fear. Let me tell you what's really happening in that analysis room right now. They're not just confused, they're terrified. Because every institution, every authority, every system of control they've built depends on one fundamental assumption: that humans are predictable, measurable, controllable. But you just proved that assumption is a lie. You're the walking proof that there are levels of existence they haven't mapped, frequencies of being they can't detect, dimensions of movement they never imagined. You're not just an anomaly. You're a threat to the entire infrastructure of their reality. And they know, deep in their gut, that if one person can do this, if you can exist outside their grid, then everything they thought they knew is questionable. Every prisoner they thought they had locked down might have keys they never detected. Every subject they thought they controlled might be playing them the whole time. Right now, at this exact moment, there's a team of experts sitting in a conference room, and they're losing their minds. The footage is playing on a loop on every screen. Slow motion, freeze frames, zoomed in until pixels become visible. They've got physicists. They've got behavioral analysts. They've got technology specialists. And not one of them, not a single damn one of them, can explain what they're seeing. The lead scientist keeps pointing at the timestamp, his hand shaking slightly, saying, "This is impossible," for the 14th time. The tech expert has run the video through every authentication software known to man, and every single test comes back the same. This is real, unedited, raw footage from verified sources. No deepfake, no manipulation, no trickery. Just you doing things that shouldn't be possible. They're trying to apply logic to something that exists beyond logic. They're measuring you with rulers that don't have the right units. They're trying to explain a force of nature with equations designed for predictable matter, and it's breaking them. Watch their faces on the security footage of the security footage analysis. Yeah, they're watching you, but someone's watching them too, and their expressions tell the whole story. First comes confusion. That familiar furrowing of brows when data doesn't match expectations. Then comes frustration as they run test after test, hoping one will give them the answer they need. But then comes something darker, the moment when confusion transforms into fear. This is a revelation they're not ready for. One of them suggests it's a camera malfunction, multiple synchronized malfunctions across different systems. Someone replies, shutting that down immediately. Another proposes a software glitch. But the footage exists on isolated systems that don't share code. Someone mumbles something about atmospheric conditions causing visual distortions, but the physics don't support it. Every explanation gets offered and demolished within minutes. Every rational possibility explored and exhausted, and slowly, reluctantly, terrifyingly, they're forced to confront the only remaining conclusion. What they're seeing is real. You're real. And the laws they've based their entire understanding of reality on are not universal. They're just local guidelines that some beings have learned to ignore. The head of security is demanding answers. Corporate wants explanations. Legal is worried about liability. PR is trying to figure out how to spin this, if it leaks. But the analysts? They're not thinking about any of that anymore. They're thinking about what this means. If someone can move like this, exist like this, operate outside detection like this, then every security system in the world is obsolete. Every surveillance network is compromised. Every database incomplete. You're not just a threat to their facility. You're proof that their entire approach to monitoring, controlling, and understanding the world is fundamentally flawed. You're the evidence that there's a whole level of existence happening right under their noses that their technology can't touch. And here's the kicker. The part that's really eating at them. They don't know if you're the only one. They're looking at this footage, wondering how many others are out there, moving through their carefully constructed grid without leaving traces they can recognize. How many times have you done this before? How many cameras have you passed through without triggering any alerts? How long have you been operating in plain sight, invisible to their detection methods, because those methods were never designed to see someone like you? Every assumption they made about security, about surveillance, about their ability to track and monitor, all of it is crumbling. And you did it by just being yourself. They're pulling footage from weeks ago now, months even, searching for patterns, trying to find other instances, other appearances, building a timeline of your movements. But here's what they're discovering. You show up when you want to. You disappear when you choose. There's no pattern because you're not bound by the predictable behaviors. Their algorithms are designed to track. You're not taking the same route twice. You're not following any schedule. You're operating on a frequency that their analysis can't predict because it's not mechanical, it's not routine, it's pure instinct and intention. And that scares them more than anything. Because machines they can predict, algorithms they can counter. But instinct, consciousness operating outside their framework, that's uncontrollable. Let's talk about what you actually did, what made their precious scientific instruments have a collective meltdown. Because this isn't just about moving fast or being in two places at once, though yeah, you did that too. This is about fundamentally violating the rules they thought governed physical reality. Every human body is supposed to move within certain parameters. Maximum speed, predictable acceleration, limited range of motion. Their algorithms know exactly how fast a person can run, how quickly they can change direction, how their body should appear on thermal imaging, how much sound they should generate moving through space. But your footage? It breaks every single one of those parameters. You're moving faster than human physiology should allow, but there's no motion blur. Your thermal signature is wrong. Sometimes too hot, sometimes too cold, sometimes not registering at all. The audio doesn't match. When you should be making noise, there's silence. When you should be silent, there's this low-frequency hum their equipment picks up that makes the analyst's skin crawl. You're appearing in one camera's field of view and then another. But the time between appearances is too short. The distance is too great. You'd need to be moving at speeds that would make you visible as a blur on every camera between point A and point B. But there's nothing. Just you. Here. Then. There. Like space itself, folded to accommodate you. The quantum physicists are having a field day with this, proposing theories about observation affecting reality, about consciousness interacting with space-time in ways they've only theorized about. But the biologists are losing their dash times T because whatever you did it in a human body. No technology, no equipment, just flesh and bone, doing things that flesh and bone shouldn't be capable of. They're analyzing your gait, your posture, your movements, looking for signs of mechanical augmentation, finding none, checking for evidence of chemical enhancement, nothing. Running your appearance through databases, looking for special effects, CGI, holographic projection. Every test comes back clean. This is you. Organic. Human. Impossible. One scientist keeps muttering about energy conservation laws. Where did the energy come from? How did you accelerate that fast without visible propulsion? How did you decelerate without impact? The numbers don't work. The physics don't balance. It's like watching someone violate thermodynamics in real time, and that's not supposed to be possible. Energy can't be created or destroyed, only transferred. But you're moving like energy is something you generate at will. Like physical laws or suggestions you can choose to follow or ignore. And the footage proves it. Frame by frame, your body is doing things that should require forces that aren't present in the environment. But here's what really breaks their brains. What makes even the most skeptical scientist go quiet and pale. In some frames, just for a fraction of a second, you're not entirely solid. There's this distortion around your edges, like reality is having trouble deciding if you're fully present or not. The image stabilization algorithms keep trying to correct it, treating it as a camera artifact. But it's consistent across multiple independent systems. You're flickering at the edges of existence, partially phased out of their detectable spectrum, moving between states of matter or dimensions of space that their equipment can barely register. And they don't know if this is something you're doing consciously or if this is just how you exist all the time, and they're only now able to capture it on camera. The medical team wants to study you. They're already drafting proposals, imagining the breakthroughs they could make if they could understand your physiology. But the security team is more realistic. They know you're not coming in voluntarily. They know whatever you are, whatever you've become, you're not going to let yourself be contained and examined. You're not going to lie down on their examination table and let them probe and measure and try to reverse engineer your impossibility. You're going to keep moving through their world like smoke through screens, visible enough to prove you exist, untouchable enough to make them realize they're not equipped to deal with you. And that realization is spreading through their ranks like a virus. You're not a problem to be solved. You're a revelation they're not ready for. Now we arrive at the moment they never thought would come. The moment when serious scientists, people with degrees and credentials and reputations to protect, have to use that word, paranormal. It's in the official report now, filed under unexplained phenomena, classified with a security level that most employees don't even know exists. Because acknowledging what you are, what you can do, it doesn't just challenge science. It threatens the entire infrastructure of control they've built. Every security system, every monitoring program, every surveillance initiative, all of it is based on the assumption that humans operate within detectable, predictable parameters. But you don't. And if you don't, who else doesn't? The term paranormal is their white flag. It's them admitting defeat. For decades, they've mocked and dismissed anyone who suggested humans could do impossible things, could operate outside the boundaries of conventional physics. They've built entire careers on debunking, on explaining away, on reducing mystery to mechanism. But now they're the ones filing paranormal reports. Now they're the ones with unexplained footage they can't dismiss. Now they're forced to create new categories, new classifications, because the old ones don't have space for someone like you. You're not a ghost. You're not an alien. You're something potentially more terrifying. You're human, but evolved beyond their ability to monitor or control. The implications are spreading through every department. If humans can do this, what else can they do? What other abilities are hidden, dormant, waiting to be activated? Are there others like you, operating in plain sight, invisible to their detection methods. The panic is subtle but pervasive. Meetings are being called. Budgets are being reallocated. New research initiatives are being launched, all because you walked through their surveillance grid and broke it, all because you existed in a way that their technology couldn't explain and their science couldn't categorize. You're not just an individual anymore. You're proof of concept. You're evidence that the ceiling they thought limited human potential is actually just a floor they've been standing on, unaware of the levels above. They're trying to weaponize this. Of course they are. Military applications are being discussed in classified briefings. If this is possible, if humans can move like this, phase like this, exist outside conventional detection, imagine what a soldier could do. Imagine what a spy could accomplish. Imagine the advantage in any conflict. But here's what they're not considering. You can't manufacture this. You can't train it. You can't replicate it through technology or drugs or genetic modification. This is something else. Something that emerges from consciousness and intention and transformation that can't be forced or programmed. You didn't learn this in a lab. You didn't develop it through systematic training. You became this through pressure, through necessity, through evolution that happened in the shadows while they weren't watching. The paranormal classification means something else too. It means they're documenting you without understanding you. It means they're creating files and records that future generations will find long after the current analysts are gone. And those files will raise questions that nobody alive today can answer. You're becoming legend in real time. The security footage from this day, this moment, it's going to be shown in briefing rooms for decades. It's going to be analyzed by researchers who aren't even born yet. It's going to be the case that makes careers and breaks assumptions. You're not just paranormal. You're the paranormal event of this generation. And somewhere in the back of their minds, there's this growing fear. What if this isn't rare? What if this is natural and they've just been blind to it? What if there's a whole subset of humanity that's been operating like this forever, moving through their surveillance states like ghosts, invisible to their detection methods, because those methods were never designed to see beyond the conventional? What if you're not the anomaly? What if they're the ones living in the limited reality, and you've just stepped into something more real, more true, more fundamental than anything their instruments can measure? That possibility terrifies them, because it means everything they've built, every system of control and monitoring and documentation, it's all been operating in the shallow end, while the real world, the true world, has been happening in depths they never imagined. Now comes the predictable part, the part where they try to contain this. Damage control meetings are happening right now. Legal teams are drafting non-disclosure agreements. It is being ordered to scrub servers. The footage is being classified, moved to secure systems with access limited to maybe 20 people worldwide. They're trying to bury this before it spreads, before it leaks, before the world finds out that their entire security infrastructure just got exposed as inadequate. They're scared of the questions, scared of the panic, scared of what happens when people realize that someone can move through monitored spaces without being detected, can violate physical laws without consequence, can exist outside the grid they've spent billions constructing. But here's the thing about trying to cover up the impossible. It never works. Copies exist. People talk. Screenshots get taken. Someone always has a backup. And even if they manage to delete every video file, even if they wipe every server and silence every witness, the memory remains. The analysts who saw this footage, they're not going to forget. They're going to lie awake at night replaying those frames in their minds, questioning everything they thought they knew. The security personnel who monitored those cameras, they're going to look at every feed differently now, wondering what they're missing, wondering who else might be moving through their blind spots. You can't unsee the impossible. You can't unknow what you've witnessed. They thought you were done, buried, forgotten, a relic of a failure they laughed at. But they forgot one thing. Some fires burn strongest in the dark. Some souls don't die, they transform. They stood over your grave grinning, mocking, kicking dirt on your name like it was entertainment. Oh, they were so sure you wouldn't rise, so sure you'd stay broken. But pain does something to a man. It twists him, sharpens him, warps him into something they'll never understand. You see, some people beg for mercy. Others turn their suffering into a weapon. And right now, you're standing in the ruins of everything they destroyed, staring at the wreckage like an artist before a blank canvas. This isn't the end. This is the beginning of something terrible. Let them laugh. Let them celebrate your downfall. Because the silence between your breaths, that's the sound of something brewing. Something they'll never see coming. To rise, you must first let the old version of yourself die. The weak, naive fool who begged for their approval. Gone. That version of you was a puppet, strings pulled by the hands of people who never deserved control. They fed you lies, told you kindness would be rewarded, told you patience was a virtue, told you to stay humble while they stepped on your back to climb higher. And you believed them. You smiled through the insults, you swallowed your pride, hoping, praying they'd finally see your worth. But they never did. That version of you, bury it. Don't mourn it, don't weep for it, kill it without hesitation. Because that version of you was a liability, a victim waiting to be sacrificed. And in this world, there is no going back, no comfort, no safe return to the arms of those who abandoned you. You think they'll welcome you home? No. They liked you weak. They liked you dependent. They liked you beneath them, starving for scraps of attention. But that ends now. No more apologies, no more justifications, no more explaining yourself to people who never listened. Evolution is brutal. It doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't hesitate. It kills what no longer serves its purpose. And you, my friend, are about to become something unrecognizable. Let 'em talk. Let 'em wonder where you went. Let them whisper about the change in you. They'll call you distant, cold, ruthless, good. That means it's working. That means they can feel it, the death of the old you, and the birth of something they should have never provoked. They left you to rot, abandoned you like a ghost town, silent, empty, forgotten. They walked away so easily, didn't they? As if you were nothing, as if all you gave, all you endured, all you sacrificed meant less than the dirt beneath their feet. You reached for them once, called their names, but all you heard was the sound of doors slamming, voices fading, footsteps walking away, and then silence. A silence so deep it echoed inside your skull. That's when you realized no one was coming to save you. Loneliness. That was the gift they left behind. A slow, suffocating poison meant to crush you under its weight. They expected you to beg, to plead, to crawl back to them with your hands outstretched. But instead, you disappeared. And in that disappearance, something inside you shifted. You see, solitude does something to a person. It either breaks you or sharpens you into something unrecognizable. It strips away every illusion, every lie, every false comfort until all that's left is you, the raw, unfiltered, untamed version of you, the one they never wanted to meet. You stopped talking, stopped explaining, stopped chasing people who never deserved you in the first place. And in that silence, you found something deadly. Clarity. The kind of clarity that turns a man into a ghost. Unpredictable. Now, they don't know what you're thinking. They don't know where you've been or what you've become. And that terrifies them. Because they can't control what they can't predict. They can't hurt what they can't see. They can't destroy what no longer needs them. They forced you into the dark, and in the dark, you evolved. No distractions, no fake smiles, no empty conversations, just you, your thoughts, and the slow, steady transformation into something colder, something smarter, something dangerous. Let them wonder, let them whisper, let them feel your absence like a blade against their throat. Because when you finally step back into the light, you won't be the same. And they'll regret ever forcing you into the shadows. Pain is an alchemist. It turns fear into focus, betrayal into resilience. It burns through illusions, through comfort, through everything weak, until all that's left is something raw, something unstoppable. And you are standing in the middle of the flames, whether you like it or not. They thought pain would break you, thought the heartbreak, the humiliation, the nights spent drowning in your own thoughts would be enough to finish you. They don't realize pain is the birthplace of monsters, the graveyard of the weak and the forge of the relentless. Let it consume you. Let it tear through every piece of you that still clings to the past. Every ounce of doubt, every whisper of hesitation, every fragile piece of you that still hopes for mercy, let it burn. 'Cause pain isn't your enemy. Pain is your blacksmith. Think of the greats, those who rose from nothing. Nikola Tesla, mocked and left penniless, yet his ideas shaped the world. Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team, turned rejection into an obsession that made him a legend. Even the Joker himself, torn apart, abandoned, laughed at, until the laughter turned to fear. They all understood one thing: suffering is a weapon if you know how to wield it. Most people drown in it, crying about fairness, about how cruel the world is. But you are not most people. You take the knife they stabbed into your back, and you sharpen it. Use the betrayal. Let it remind you why you must never be weak again. Use the rejection. Let it fuel the fire that makes you impossible to ignore. Use the humiliation. Let it carve a version of you so ruthless, so unbreakable, that one day, those who laughed will be the ones trembling. Pain has already done its job. It took everything from you. Now it's your turn. Your turn to return the favor. Your turn to make them watch as you rise from the ashes of the person they thought they destroyed. Your turn to become what they never saw coming. So go ahead, keep burning, keep sharpening, keep walking through the fire with a grin that makes them uneasy, because soon, very soon, they won't just see the flames. They'll feel them, And when they do, there will be no escaping the inferno you've become. Announce nothing, say nothing. Let them believe they won. Let them sit in their illusion of victory, laughing, celebrating, thinking you're finished. They expect noise. They expect you to beg, to scream, to prove yourself. But you give them silence. Silence is a weapon, a deadly one, because nothing unsettles the enemy more than not knowing what's coming next. People fear the unknown more than they fear a direct threat. When you move in silence, you become unpredictable, and the unpredictable cannot be stopped. Look around. The loud ones, the ones who brag, who boast, who scream about their plans, they never last. They burn out before they even take off. They get so high on the sound of their own voice that they forget. Power belongs to the ones who move in the dark. Think of the greats. Steve Jobs didn't scream about the iPhone before it changed the world. Muhammad Ali said, "Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee," but he never warned his opponents when the sting was coming. The Joker, he never laid out his full plan. By the time they understood, it was already too late. Premature victories are the downfall of fools. The second you announce your next move, you invite enemies to sabotage it. You open the door for doubt, for interference, for hands that will try to pull you back into the pit you crawled out of. Shut the door, lock it, swallow the key, build in the shadows, train in silence, work while they sleep, while they waste their time, while they gossip about nothing. Every move you make, every skill you sharpen, every empire you construct, do it in the dark. Let them think you've disappeared. Let them think they broke you. Then one day, boom, you appear. And they don't even recognize you. The weakling they dismissed, gone. The version of you that needed their validation, buried. All that's left is a force they can't stop, a monster they can't control, a presence so powerful it demands respect without saying a single word. By the time they realize what's happened, it's already over. You've won. Not because you talked about it, not because you sought their approval, but because you understood the one truth they never could. Real power doesn't need to announce itself. It just arrives. And when it does, the world has no choice but to kneel. They told you kindness was a virtue, that patience was noble, that understanding would make you loved. They never warned you how kindness makes you a target, how patience gets you walked on, how understanding invites betrayal. They never told you the truth. Kindness without boundaries is self-destruction. Look at where that softness got you. Look at the scars from all the times you forgave when you shouldn't have. Look at the doors you held open for people who walked through and never looked back. Look at the hands you fed that later turned into fists against you. Enough. The world does not reward the weak. It does not hand crowns to those who wait their turn. It takes the ruthless, the relentless, the ones who refuse to stay small and forces the world to make space for them. You either evolve or you get left behind. And evolution, it's not gentle, it's not polite. It's cutting off dead weight, ripping out the parts of you that beg for approval. It's saying no more to second chances, no more to excuses, no more to living for anyone but yourself. It's learning to move like a storm, fast, powerful. Some will call you cold. Let them. Some will say you've changed. Good. That's the point. You are not here to be liked. You are not here to be understood. You are here to win, to rise, to break through every limit that once held you back. And if that means becoming ruthless, so be it. No more tolerating mediocrity. No more waiting for permission. No more softening your edges to make weak people feel comfortable. Either grow or die as the person they wanted you to be. The version of you that was easy to control, the version of you that let them win. This is your rebirth, your reinvention. And from this moment forward, you walk like a king. You move like a force of nature. No apologies, no hesitation. No more begging for space in a world that was meant to be conquered. Because now you are the one they fear. They thought they could replace you, thought you would break, crawl back, beg for a seat at their table. They laughed when you fell, ignored you when you struggled. But now, you don't give them the privilege of your presence. And that burns more than any revenge ever could. People don't appreciate what's always there. They don't value what's easy to reach. They only crave what's gone, what's slipping through their fingers. And you are gone. You are the absence that lingers in their mind, the silence that drives them mad, the lesson they never saw coming. When you walk away, you shift the power. You stop playing their game. No more arguments, no more justifications, no more proving your worth to people too blind to see it. You leave them in the dust, and as the days go by, the silence starts to eat at them. They check their phone. No message. No call. They tell themselves they don't care, that you were nothing. But the quiet screams louder than words. The space you left, it haunts them. Because for the first time, they realize you were the prize all along. And now, they want back in. They remember your loyalty, your presence, your fire. But the door they once slammed in your face, it's locked, bolted shut, and you're not waiting on the other side anymore. You're too far gone, too evolved, too untouchable. The real power was never in proving them wrong. It was never in making them suffer. It was in walking away so completely that they become prisoners of their own regret. Regret for taking you for granted. Regret for thinking you were just another option. Regret for underestimating the one person they should have never lost. And when they come back, when they realize what they threw away, you don't even have to respond. You don't have to explain. Just keep walking, keep rising, keep showing them. Your absence will haunt them far more than your presence ever did. They thought you were finished, a forgotten name, a fading memory. They spoke about you in past tense, as if your story had already been written. But what they failed to understand was that you were never gone. You were just silent, watching, planning, building in the shadows. Every failure, you studied it. Every betrayal, you learned from it. Every ounce of pain, you turned it into fuel. While they celebrated your downfall, you were sharpening your mind, forging your will, preparing for the moment they never saw coming, the moment of your return. And now it's time. The curtain rises. The world will see exactly what they tried to bury. No more hiding, no more waiting, no more proving. You walk back onto the stage of life, not as the person they once knew, but as something terrifyingly unstoppable. You don't announce it. You don't warn them. You just appear. Stronger, sharper, untouchable. They see your name in places they never expected. They hear whispers of your success in rooms they thought you'd never enter. Their laughter turns to silence, their confidence turns to fear. And that's the beauty of the comeback. It's not loud, it's not desperate, it doesn't need validation, it speaks for itself. It's in the way you carry yourself. The way your presence alone shakes the room. The way your existence is now a reminder of their mistake. They will regret underestimating you, regret pushing you aside, regret thinking they had the power to define your limits. But regrets won't save them now. They will watch, helpless as you rise higher than they ever dreamed possible. And the best part? They can't stop it. No revenge needed, no explanations given. Your success is the only response. Your growth is the only answer. And as they sit there, watching, wishing they had never doubted you, you'll simply smile. Because the best revenge, it was never payback. It was proving that nothing was ever lost, only transformed. This is your moment, your return, your final act of unveiling. And now, they will never forget your name. They wanted you broken, crushed, forever stuck in the pit they threw you into. They wanted you bitter, drowning in rage, wasting your days plotting ways to get back at them. But the joke's on them, because you don't need revenge. They expected you to chase, to beg, to show up with proof that you're not the failure they painted you as. But you don't owe them proof. You don't owe them your breath, your energy, your words. Silence is your weapon. Distance is your strategy. And success? That's the blade they'll fall on. When you rise without them, when you thrive in a world where they thought you'd collapse, that's when the regret sinks in. They start rewinding the past, searching for the moment they lost you, the moment they pushed too far. But the past is dead, and so is their access to you. They watch from a distance, trying to convince themselves it doesn't hurt, trying to convince others that they never needed you, but their eyes betray them. The whispers of your name in rooms they can't enter burn more than any insult ever could. And that's the beauty of it. You didn't have to plot, you didn't have to destroy them. Their own choices did that for you. Their own doubts, their own betrayals. All you did was rise. That's it. That's all it took to flip the script. Because when they see you standing there, untouchable, unbothered, beyond their reach, it will eat at them. It will twist in their stomachs like a knife. You became everything they swore you'd never be, and they have no role in your story anymore. They lost the privilege to be part of your success. They lost the right to know the person you've become. And now, all they have left is regret. That's the final act. That's the last laugh. And the best part? You never even had to lift a finger.